Hey everyone. Sorry that I did not get this video out yesterday. I have just been super busy, but I'm putting it out today. So do give you a further notice. Obviously, as you can see, this is a lot shorter one, as chapters 9 and 10 are actually the shortest chapters in my whole. Actually, they're probably going to be the shortest chapters in my entire book series, especially chapter 10. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Chapter 9, Into Hiding. We used whatever materials that were discarded as trash by whoever lives here to use as a small shelter. Judging from the distance away from the palace, we appeared to be on the outer edge of the kingdom, where all the peasants farm their crops. Next time we do this, we need to come up with a better plan than hiding out next to a barn in a small forested area, I tell Adton while checking our surroundings to make sure we can't be seen. We won't have to worry about it at night, though we'll probably give up the search when it gets dark. And you're right, I really didn't think this out at all, Adton says to me while doing maintenance on his sword. You impressed me today. I didn't think you were much of a fighter, I tell Adton while grabbing my sword and keeping it maintained. You were amazing as well. You are really good at sword fighting too, Adton says while grabbing a rock and sharpening his swords. Well, 2 swords are better than 1. Obviously, you had the advantage, I tell him while looking into the cold dark metal of my thin katana-like sword. It's supposed to be like sword, I need to add that. Not necessarily. If I used long swords, I'd be at a disadvantage because of the length and weight of the blades. However, with short swords like the ones I use, I can get away with it. You checking your sword for damage? Edson tells me while looking up at me. Yeah, though I imagine it's probably just fine. If my sword was a normal katana, I would have had to do heavy maintenance on it after our fight. But since mine is made from maronium, it doesn't have a scratch on it, I tell Adton while sheathing my sword. Maronium? I've never heard of that metal, Adton says while looking puzzled. Most things here in this realm are made of iron. However, there is a rare ore, ephemerite, that is the strongest metal in this realm. Maronium is a mysterious metal that is practically indestructible. I am only aware of maronium being used in my sword, as well as the sword of the ruler of hell, I explained to Adton while looking up at him. That's very interesting. I don't know much about the other realms. I have mainly only focused on the history of my people, Adton says while sharpening his swords again. Your swords are made of ephemerite. That is a good metal to have, though I can see my sword has done some damage to it, I point out to him while looking at his swords. What other interesting facts do you have about your people and culture? Adton asks while he gives up on fixing the slight damage in his swords. Well, for starters, the Dragon Knights used to rule Tiana. However, the people rebelled, so my father gave them independence. The only reason the Dragon Knights would rule Tiana is because of the Dragon Knights being tasked to defend this realm from any threat that tried to invade it. I explain to Adton while he checks our surroundings again as rain begins to start falling. So wait, you're a human, but being as you are a Dragon Knight, how does that make you one? Adton asks while looking at the sky. Terra Nova is the realm of the dragons, and people born there are Terra Novians, a unique species that has the ability to travel freely between realms. Every now and then they venture to Tiana to choose a Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight rules over Terra Nova and protects the realm of the dragons. Sonorium is a special metal found in Terra Nova that is used to forge the armor of the Dragon Knights, that only activate upon the touch of a chosen Dragon Knight. I, however, don't have a set of armor, nor do I have a dragon, but my sword does activate for me, which means I am the next ruler of Terra Nova, I tell Adton as he puts his full attention towards me. Sounds like you have a long journey ahead of you, Adton says while trying to process everything I told him. What about you? Your history and your people? I ask him while I begin to lay on the ground. Well, my people are just normal humans like yourself. However, we have been put into a category to separate us from the real normal humans. They call us Tians, and we have the ability to wield magic specific to a certain element. Mine is lightning, as you have discovered. Tians are generally faster, stronger, and more tough than most humans, which is why humans fear what we can do, Adton says while he rests his back against a tree. Were you born with magic like I was, or did you obtain it from something? I ask him out of curiosity. We are born with the ability to wield magic, yes. However, we need to be initiated into a clan by a master. The masters got their powers from the elemental crystals. Currently, there are 4 crystals in this realm: fire, ice, lightning, and earth. There was an air elemental crystal, but nobody knows what happened to it or where it went, Etten explains to me while folding his arms. That's very interesting. I always heard rumors about how you guys got your powers and how the kingdoms banned magic. Although I do remember hearing rumors about blood and dark magic. Are those real? I asked Etten out of curiosity. I have never seen it, nor has anyone else seen it be used. I don't think it's real, though if it was, I would imagine that both would be seen as a high-level threat, Etten says, somewhat disproving the myths. There is a lot more to this world than I thought. I look around as the sky starts to turn dark blue and black as lightning begins to flash occasionally through the sky. We begin to get cold and wet, so we decided to just sleep in the barn tonight, so we could be shielded from the storm. Once inside, we took a look around to see what we were dealing with, as well as where we can hide in the event that a farmer comes in here. We then laid down into a mound of hay so we could have some form of comfort as we tried to sleep. I run my hands through some of the solid straw to try and smooth it out enough to lay my head down on. Nix? Etten says while he stares at the ceiling. Yes, I responded while looking at him. Thank you for staying with me. I haven't had anyone show me as much compassion and care as you have. It's been a long time since I felt this, he says in a serious but slightly sad tone. You're welcome, I say to him while I get lost in my thoughts. I honestly don't know why I have stayed with him. Why do I care about him so much? I then start thinking about my brother and wondering if this is what he would have wanted me to do. For a while there, I didn't see a clear path ahead of me. I just lost myself, but for some reason, ever since you helped me that day in the alley, I couldn't stop thinking about you. I'm not sure why, but all I know is you showed me hope. I know I have someone I can trust and rely on for things. Now, there isn't a thing I wouldn't do for you. I want to help you find your brother. I want to try and make you find some amount of joy in this world. I'm just not entirely sure how to accomplish that, Etten says in a kind and peaceful tone. After he says this, I then look back at him as a feeling of compassion enters my chest. For the first time in years, I feel love. I feel like I am appreciated and cared for. I then no longer feel cold as a warm feeling enters my body. Then before I can react, I then begin to cry as a sharp but gentle pain hits my chest. Etten, thank you. I really needed to hear that. I haven't felt this feeling in such a long time. I had almost forgotten what it felt like. I tell him, trying to hold back some of the tears. If you ever need anything, I'm here for you, Etten says while turning over and looking at me. I'm not sure if I can have a relationship. I like him, yeah, but love him? That's a different story. A flash of lightning then enters through the window cracks of the barn as the sound of thunder rolls through the sky. I never thought that I would find someone who actually cares about me. The wind begins to pick up as the barn walls begin to rattle. The sound of the rain gets louder as the rain really begins to come down. More thunder rolls through the sky as we try to fall asleep. Eventually, after a while, we fall asleep despite the loud sounds outside. I then wake up in a strange world. A vast black sky with a massive green and blue nebula stretches over the world. Mysterious floating islands of some mystical stone are hovering all over the place in infinite directions. Behind me, I turn around to see a large purple and stone castle with a long walkway leading into the entrance. I begin to walk into the large and empty castle as there is no one here. To the left and right of the hallway are large statues of my ancestors and some creatures I don't recognize. No way. This is Terra Nova. The further in I walk, the more narrow the hallway gets until I come across a bridge that stretches over a large empty void that goes down seemingly forever into a dark abyss. In front of me, I see a throne. I begin to walk closer to it till I hear strange noises come from behind me. Once I turn around, I see a single man holding a sword, much like mine but orange. He walks towards me. He's wearing the same black and orange armor as the Halation I saw in my father's memories. I reach down to my side to pull out my sword, only to realize that it's not there. I then begin to panic as the Halation that killed my father approaches me with his sword in hand. This is a dream, or a vision. I'm not sure, but this looks pretty real even though I know it isn't. The Halation stops right in front of me as he looks down at me, with a few embers of flame blazing out of his armor occasionally. You are the next Dragon Knight. Interesting. Now that I know who you are, I will hunt you down and finish what I started. This is just a dream. You aren't real. You have no power here, I tell him while trying to look brave. You have much to learn, girl.
You may not live up to your father's legacy, but you are still a threat to my plans. This isn't a dream, foolish mortal. This is our swords connecting us mentally, the Halatian says as he raises his sword and looks at it. I start to back away as I realize that what he is saying is the truth. My heart begins to beat faster as I start to panic. I am real, and I do have power here. I have plans for this realm. As for you, I want you dead. I can't allow another Dragon Knight to rule the throne and raise an army against me, the Halatian says as he slowly walks up to me. You killed my father. I have no choice but to avenge my family. As soon as I say this, the Halatian holds his sword down to his side and grabs me by the neck, choking me. He begins to lift me off the ground as part of the armor off his hands begins to cut into my neck. I struggle to breathe as I try to think of a way to break free. I raise my hand up and begin to conjure an attack using my magic. I see him look down at my hand, and just as he does, he throws me across the room. I hit the cold, hard floor and roll a few times, sliding to a stop. Just then I feel my sword at my side. There is still much for me to learn. I stand up and unsheath my sword and begin to defend myself from his next attack. As I raise my sword up, he locks swords with me, creating a clash of orange and purple crackling energy. You are not meant to avenge your family. You can't. I will kill you before you can, the Halatian says as he disengages and prepares another attack. I then hold my sword up to protect myself as he hits the tip of my sword and swings it down towards my feet in one swing. I barely back up in time as he shoots a beam of hot orange energy towards me. Shit. I get hit square in the chest, sending me flying back as I land on the floor of the throne. Looking up, I see he has disappeared. All around me are skeletons, wearing some kind of black armor, similar to what my sword is made of. The sky begins to turn a shade of orange as the floor begins to radiate. It begins to radiant with steam. It's supposed to be radiate with steam, whatever. See you in Hyvelon, I hear the Halatian say as I begin to black out. Chapter 10. No Safe Place. Adton! I wake up screaming, my heart racing like the beat of war drums. Cold sweat drenched my face as the vivid remnants of the dream lingered. He knows. He knows where we are. That's supposed to be italicized. I bolted upright, eyes scanning the dimly lit barn for any signs of danger. The faint rustle of hay and the muffled whinny of a horse reminded me where I was. Moments later, Adton appeared, rounding the corner with hurried steps. Concern etched on his face. What? What happened? He asked me, rushing towards me. He's coming for us, I blurted, my voice trembling with urgency. The Halatian. The ruler of hell. We connected minds last night. He knows where we are, and he knows I'm a threat to his power. Anton froze, his expression darkening. The ruler of hell? He repeated, his voice dropping to a whisper. I've heard whispers. Rumors of hell's armies building strength. If he's coming, who knows what he'll send after us. He handed me my sword, the weight of the blade being as light as a feather. Its familiar hilt pressed into my palm, a silent promise of protection. We have to warn the people of Hyvelon, I said, strapping the scabbard to my side. An attack is coming. They need to be ready. Adton hesitated. Do you really think they'll listen to us? Don't forget, we've just officially been branded as enemies of Hyvelon. I know, I admitted, frustration bubbling beneath my skin. But we have no choice. If they don't listen, we'll have to hold the army back ourselves long enough for them to prepare their warriors. Adton sighed, leading me out of the barn into the cool morning air. The faint scent of rain lingered from the previous night's storm. Gray clouds rolled across the sky, a somber omen of the battle ahead. We have to make every moment count, Adton said, adjusting his grip on his twin swords. If he's sending soldiers, they'll take 3 to 5 days to reach us. If it's just him, we might only have 1 or 2. The gravity of his words settled over me like a shroud. Do you really think we can do this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Sparring with each other is one thing. Fighting an entire army determined to kill us? It's different. Adton turned to me, his gaze steady. Nix, you're one of the best fighters I have ever seen. Your strength, your instincts, they'll carry us through this. I believe in you. In us. His sincerity is unwavering, and for a moment, I felt the weight of my shoulders lessen. Taking a deep breath, I let the fresh air fill my lungs, the mingling sense of spring blossoms and damp earth grounding me. So what's the plan? I asked, focusing on the task at hand. I'm not much of a planner, Adton admitted with a smirk. In a fight, most plans go out the window the second you get hit.
True, I said with a nod. But we need at least a rough idea. Etten considered this. I'm faster than you, so I'll focus on wearing down the enemy while you land powerful strikes. I'll stay aggressive since my defense isn't great. I'll take the high ground, I added. My wings can give us a scouting advantage. I can also rain down strikes from above if needed. Good, Etten said. But remember, I burn through my energy fast. The shorter the fight, the better. I frowned, the uncertainty gnawing at me. I don't know who he'll send. Maybe a small force, or just him with a few elites. Either way, Hyvalon must be warned. Etten paused, his expression thoughtful. Are you absolutely sure an attack is coming? Could it have been just a dream? The question cut deeper than I expected. Could it have been a dream? The vividness of the vision made it hard to dismiss. I looked at the ground, my thoughts swirling. If I was wrong, we risked being branded fools, or worse. But if I was right? It was real, I said, finally, meeting his gaze. Someone or something is coming for us. Etten nodded grimly. Then we have to act. The armies of hell wouldn't waste their forces on one kingdom just to kill 2 people. It's more likely he'll send someone specific. Maybe, I said, my thoughts drifting back to the Halation's chilling words. It could be him, or it could be a harbinger. A harbinger. Whatever, words, alright. Either way, we'll find out soon enough, Etten said, leading the way out of the tree line. For now, we need supplies, and to start warning people. We stepped into the cobblestone street of a nearby village. Despite the early hour, merchants were already setting up stalls, their voices rising in cheerful banter. The normalcy of the scene felt almost surreal, a stark contrast to the storm brewing on the horizon. As we walked, a sense of resolve settled over me. Whether Hyvalon listened or not, we would stand against the tide of darkness together. Alright, and that is it. That is chapters 9 and 10. And yeah, I can definitely notice, because here's a little thing. You can tell like the language of writing changed so drastically between chapters 9 and 10. Because like I wrote the first couple of chapters, I think I wrote up to chapter 9, and then like I went like I think about 8 or 9 months without writing this, and then I continued it back up, and then by then I had written a couple of short stories, and my writing's improved. And from this point on, the writing is going to get a little bit better. I mean, you know, it goes through. And yeah, I love how I have ChatGPT go through to, you know, fix up any spelling mistakes. And yeah, I can definitely tell. I mean, I hate these things, man. But yeah, these little line thingies, bro, I thought you couldn't start. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. But yeah, yeah. So that's chapter 9 and 10. So we're at the point here where I love the dream sequence. If we go back to the dream sequence, since this was like, the dream sequence was the last thing I wrote for the longest time. It was actually originally a whole separate chapter, but I ended up deciding to combine it with this one because it would have been pretty short without it. This was like the last thing I wrote before taking a break. And yeah, dude, this was crazy. And then like if you listen to the language from here and then scrolling down to here, it's like so vastly different, the time jump. But yeah, dude, all the dream sequence. So now you're starting to get a lot more lore with the characters. You're starting to learn who the Dragon Knights are. You know, they were said to the Dragon Knights are just a group of people that's been chosen to protect the realm of Tiana from invasions from other realms. So aka the realm of hell. And they actually, apparently, according to Nyx, used to actually rule over all the lands, but her father is the one that decided to have the kingdoms form their own, you know, be under their own rule, which is interesting. And then obviously you get a tap into what their swords are made of. So Nyx's sword is made of maronium, which is, there's not really I'm not going to say too much on what maronium is, but it is essentially indestructible. It is indestructible. It's like the only indestructible metal, and people have been trying, like, in the lore, this is not like in any of my books, this is not officially said in any of my books, but kind of my idea was like people researching that metal is still across all realms, people researching it in every realm, researching that metal, have no idea where that metal is from, how it originated, and who enchanted it. Because it's interesting that maronium seems to be enchanted with certain abilities to like choose. At least people think it's an enchantment. It could not be an enchantment, but people think it's an enchantment where like it chooses who it wants to wield its, in this case, a sword. But there are other things made of maronium which may or may not come into play later. But Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and then you get Adton swords made of ephemerite, which is it's stronger than steel. It's a pretty strong thing. Like, I think if I was to explain what ephemerite would be, I think it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be as strong as like vibranium is in like the MCU, but it would be pretty. It would be up there. It would be pretty. I think it would probably be like the equivalent of like titanium. I think that sounds about right in like medieval times. I don't think titanium was no. I don't think titanium was an ore in medieval times. I actually did not research that. Maybe I should. But yeah, you're starting to get this, and then obviously the dream sequence with the halation, which has not been name dropped yet. I have not given the name of this halation yet, but let me tell you, he has an awesome sounding name. The name will be revealed later on. But yeah, it's it's cool. I love it. Love it. I think I originally had the name of this halation revealed early. Maybe I don't know. It's been a while since maybe I've mentioned it. If I did accidentally mention it in an earlier chapter with her father's memories, that's an oopsies, because I didn't mean to name drop it then. But I did was planning on name dropping it here, but I decided not to. But yeah, it's interesting. We'll get a name drop in the next chapter, I believe, which I'm trying not to like really show. Because yeah, look at this. Chapter 10 is like 3 pages. 2 and like a quarter page. Like that. Yeah, this is the shortest chapter in my whole book. 3 pages. Yeah, I kind of don't like this. And even going back through, because the thing I noticed is like these used to be a lot longer, but whenever I had ChatGPT like go through and grammatically like fix anything, because this was a lot more terrible writing. I only had ChatGPT go through I think like my first 15 chapters, because like the writing was kind of sucks, but by the end of the book my writing got a lot better. But yeah, whenever I noticed when I had ChatGPT go through and like fix punctuation things, it like summarized and shortened all the paragraphs. So like look how short these paragraphs are. See this? Yeah, it like shortened all these. And then if you go back to like my other ones, like see like these paragraphs are a lot bigger. Like it's like it summarized things. So I don't know. I guess I mean it sounds better, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't understand the people that's like, let's just have ChatGPT write an entire book. It's like, no, because it like extremely shrinks things down, and I don't like that. And I'm just having it correct things for me because I don't want to pay for an editor. I don't want to pay for an editor, man. Screw that. I'll just have AI be my editor for free. But yeah, anyways. And there was something I was supposed to fix. Oh, well, there was an italicism that I had to fix, and there was something earlier. I'll have to go back through, and I'm watching the video. Yeah, there was something I needed to fix earlier, but I'll get there. But yeah, what are you thinking so far? These were kind of short, so my bad. If I would have known that these chapters were short, I might have actually been able to post this yesterday, but I was thinking it was going to be like another 30-minute video. Well, actually, this is actually starting to turn into another 30-minute video. But yeah, so we finished 9 and 10. Things are going to get good. I'm telling you, things are going to get good. Everything's been kind of chaotic. It's almost like the characters have no actual plan what they're doing, and even right now they still don't really have an actual plan. But that's going to change, not because they come up with a plan, but because things start happening to them. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I wonder what people are thinking. Again, I still have yet to have gotten comments on these videos on, thoughts, possible directions you want to see these books going, or predictions. I guess I should say predictions because, yeah, this is the first book, and I'm starting to write the third one right now. So I mean, I'm still writing the third one. I think I just finished like chapter 8 or something the other day. But yeah, I mean, Nyx and Adton, there's really not really much to say on like in terms of character development other than like that one scene before they fell asleep. So if we go, yeah, this one scene here. This was a pretty good character. There's a lot dropped in this in terms of lore. And oh yeah, Tians. So Tians are just normal humans, but obviously they have magic, and they're like physically stronger than most humans and faster and able to heal a lot quicker. Adton is interesting because since he's skinny and not as muscular, he's actually probably about as strong as like you would think one of the stronger humans would be. Nyx is actually stronger than Adton, which is funny because he's actually a little bit more built than him, just a little bit. But yeah, it's just a funny little thing to keep in mind there. But yeah, so yeah, being a Tian, it's not like a different species. It's just kind of like I guess you could say it's like a slur actually for people with magic as Tians. But honestly, it doesn't really anymore. They kind of just went with it because Tians and Tiana. The world name is Tiana, and many Tians. This is also another thing that's off the record. Man, I really need to include this somewhere in the book, but I'll include this at some point. But yeah, Tians. Maybe I'll do it in the fourth book. No, actually, no. Yeah, I'll save this in the fourth book because the fourth book is actually a prequel. If my first three books do well enough and get enough views, then I'll write the fourth one at least. But yeah, so yeah, in the future, the fourth book is going to be a prequel to these. Yeah, I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna spoil something if I keep going. So yeah, I will see you guys in 2 weeks, and hopefully you guys are having a good time. So yeah, later.